Allah, it will be recorded.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us from all over the world. It's indeed a great day for us. I'm super glad to have you being part of this global conversation, especially for the month of May 2023 that has to do with mental health Awareness Month, and also this is Mental Health Week. Boys Future Boys Challenge is a monthly global conversation that has been ongoing since 2021. I am Ola Akinwe. I am the founder of Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network, whose goal is to create structures, supervisions, and help boys to be civilized as we cultivate them to become a thriving member of the society who will love, inspire, value, and educate other members in their society. So this is a special conversation for us. And we've carried out our programs layout in different modes, which I would say we have different programs for developing the boys. We have the Being a Man session as well, which runs every Monday that explore the adventure from boyhood to manhood. We'll also have the Being a Man yearly mentoring programs for boys in school program and community program. We have the Solve It Right, which is a math intervention programs for young men, and is open to girls who are inclined in mathematics or want to develop interest in mathematics in this part of the divide, which is Africa. And we also registered in the United States of America as an incorporated organization. So this is extending our work all over the world. And as well, we have several programs that has been helping these young men to become the men they should be. With that being said, you can see no more about us while visiting our website and go to our social media pages on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. So these are places where you can see some of our great work. And we would like you to be part of us because this work, we can't do it alone. It's work that requires that all hands are on deck to ensure that we help our young boys, our young men to turn out with the positive outcomes in their life. I say it again, when boys don't learn, men won't know. And the greatest test of our civilization today is whether or not we can cultivate this generation of boys to become good human beings, good husbands, good member of the society. That's our task. And I want to sincerely welcome you for today's conversation. With that being said, I want to introduce the moderator of today's event. This is no any other person than I see. It's a father to me, the man I respect so much. He's been there for me all the time, and help me to welcome Rosa Force all the way from Sedona in Arizona for this conversation on promoting and maintaining mental health wellness in boys. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Ola. Yes, I am Russ. I have met Ola less than a year ago. And there was this instant understanding that Ola has created this program, Boys Mentoring Advocacy Network, that is being very successful locally in Lagos, Nigeria. He's actually saving lives by helping young men to know what it is to become a man, to deal with growing up, to deal with all the things that our guests today have had to dealt with in order to deal with, in order to become who they are now and to move forward into becoming full, mature men within the society they find themselves. So who am I? Well, I am a conductor. I'm a musician by trade, but I've always had two careers. And my second career is that I work with people who have both trauma, anxiety, early childhood difficulties that have not been resolved. So I've been in the field of mental health for over 40 years. And I appreciate so much Ola's confidence in me. It's been my pleasure to be the one to get started here in the United States by organizing B-Man International, which we are incorporated and just now going for our full federal government recognition. But be that as it may, we're here to find out what is mental health. I want to find out from the experts. And the experts are certainly they are people who are trained in the field. I would like to consider myself to be an expert, but the true experts are those who have lived the experience, who understand from the inside what's it like to be part of a mental health difficulty and a mental health solution. And so today we've invited 6 young men who are young men. These are not little boys anymore. They are now well on their way to becoming mature. So they have insights and they have observations. And we're going to give each of them time to share those observations that we all can learn from the experts who are with us today. So, Ola, I will ask you, since what we're trying to find out is what is mental health? What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do we lose it? How do we regain it? These are all wonderful questions that I would like, starting with Mensadisi from South Africa, to begin sharing with us his story. Whatever you wish to share, you each will have at least 10 minutes to do so. So stay muted, but when it's your turn, make sure you unmute yourself and then also put on your camera so that we can see you. And so, Mensadisi, I'll ask you to begin. Are we ready to go, Ola? Will this work for you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Mensadisi. Hello, Mensadisi, are you there? There you are.
Yes. This camera, yeah.
That's okay. Welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
What time is it there in South Africa?
It's 13 past 5.
Past 5. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we understand that you and Ola have known each other for a while now, and even though you're a student in South Africa, and he's an older man in Nigeria, the two of you have become close, and so I appreciate your welcoming all of us into your two relationships. And so, if you would please introduce yourself and share what you have to say about your experience with mental health.
Yes. Greetings to everyone. My name is Ncedisi Mambane from South Africa, in Johannesburg. I am a second-year psychology student. My majors are psychology and strategic communication. So, when it comes to mental health, I really think that they don't really talk much about mental health. They mostly focus on the females than boys, whereas this mental health is also a big issue when it comes to boys or men. So what I would share about mental health on my side is that I there was a point where I was not given a chance to, although I wanted a chance to have to have a relationship with my father, I was not given that chance to actually develop a relationship with him. You know, I never really understood why. So I had so many questions. Why my father is not there? You know, why is he not in my life? And that thing sort of, you know, made me, what can I say? Feel so down. You know, I wished there was a point where I wished that my father could be here next to me, but because I never had a relationship and he was not in my life, I started to have this grudge that I wish he was here in my life and he was present. And I saw that this thing is now affecting me. It's affecting me, you know, mentally. And I made a decision that I am going to actually forgive him for not being there in my life, because I did not want to carry that trauma of not having a father until um I am old, because I know that that trauma affects many people. If they carry that trauma of not having a father, it affects them when they are old. So I made the decision that let me forgive him and continue with life. So I wrote here, I think for me, I think what affects a lot of men today is that there are too many stigmas that are attached to manhood. You know, one of them that's most popular here in South Africa is that men do not cry. You know, men do not cry, and I think that's not okay to say men don't cry, because men also go through stuff. Men experience hardships, and they need to be given a space to, you know, express themselves. They need to be given a safe space for them to express how they feel. um I wrote here that crying is human, so there is no need for people to say men do not cry. I wrote here that there are several ways to promote and maintain mental health and wellness in boys. Here are some few suggestions. We must encourage physical activity. That includes regular exercise that can help reduce stress, improve mood, and increase self-esteem. So what has to be done is that we have to encourage boys to get involved in physical activities that they enjoy. It can be team sports, it can be swimming, it can also be hiking. Secondly, what we can do is we can model healthy coping strategies. Why? Because this is important. Because it is important it is important to model healthy coping strategies for boys, such as deep breathing, positive self-talk. This can help them manage stress and anxiety in a healthy way. For me, I have to be honest that what has really helped me to maintain mental health and wellness is that I practice positive self-talk a lot. So that helps me to keep my mind sane and keep make my mental health right. I also wrote that we must foster social connections. Building strong social connections can help improve mental health and reduce feelings of isolation. We must encourage boys to maintain friendships and participate in social activities. I think this is very much important because when you're around people, you can feel alive. But if you are isolated, you can get to a verge of becoming depressed, suffering from anxiety and suicidal thoughts. So instead of being isolated, we have to foster social connections. And while fostering social connections, we must also create safe spaces. So these boys and men can express themselves. And four, I wrote that we have to teach emotional regulation. This one is it's also important. Boys should be taught to understand and manage their emotions in healthy ways. We must encourage them to express their feelings and teach them coping strategies to manage difficult emotions. What I have realized when it comes to the emotional regulation part is that most boys are not really being taught how to, regulate their emotions. Some of them they and when they want to express their emotions, they make fun of them because they think that when you as a man you become expressive, you are weak. In most cases, that's what they believe here in South Africa. So five, we have to promote healthy sleep habits. It is psychologically proven that people that have healthy sleep habits have a good mental health. So getting enough sleep is crucial to maintaining good mental health. Establishing a consistent sleep routine and ensuring boys get adequate sleep can help promote mental wellness. Six, I wrote that it is important to provide a supportive and safe environment. This can help boys to feel safe, to feel secure and confident, which can contribute positively to their mental health. It is important to note that mental health and wellness can be affected by many different factors, and professional help can also be helpful in some cases. We must encourage boys and young men to seek help if they are struggling with their mental health and provide them with the necessary resources and support. Thank you.
Mendesis, wonderful. Thank you so much. You have brought up many important things, and you made a reference to in South Africa, men are taught it's not okay to cry. Yeah. However, I think that's probably universal because the man is supposed to be the one providing, and he goes out and he fights the battles and all of that sort of thing. Boys don't know how to become that, but they are told, don't cry, you're weak. We have all gotten the exact same message. In that, we are all identical. So this, you've also hit on a very important point. I'm sure everyone else will agree and hopefully share their understanding about all of these. But the point was teaching men that they do have emotions.
Yes.
And that at the bottom line, is it possible? I want us all to consider this. Is it possible that mental health is a result of emotional health? Yeah. So what does mental health look like? What does it feel like? Because mental says it's up here, but we all feel it in here, right? We're all feeling sad. We're all feeling shame. We're all feeling guilty. We're not good enough. And these are all emotional, and our brain and mind will kick out whatever's necessary to support that. Is that your experience, Mendes?
My my experience
Is that you?
is to example this point. While you are talking about that, what I have realized what affects young men. Let me just make a bottle. When we are not given those safe spaces as men, you know, when we do actions, how we feel, we start to bottle that we bottle it up. So we bottle everything up instead of being expressive, being verbal about. So this, yeah, this is the bottle. So on this bottle, as a man, not being given a safe space to actually express myself, I will bottle up the trauma, I'll bottle up the pain, I'll bottle up every bad experience. And when I bottle up, it gets full, it gets full to a point where now it explodes. It explodes. And when it now explodes, that's where now you get to one, maybe is now having a disorder. Some mental disorders mental health disorders are actually caused when we bottle up how we actually feel. So if men are given that safe space to express themselves, I think it would be helpful. It would really be helpful. So I am grateful to my father that he gives me that chance to express how I feel and be verbal about my emotions. Are gonna be helps.
Thank you so much. It was a perfect illustration. We're going to jump thousands of miles away now, and Rahul Ghosh, who joins us from India. So, Rahul, are you there? And could you unmute, put yourself on camera if you possibly can?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Nice to meet you,
Good
Rahul.
evening. Nice to meet you too.
Now, are you a university student also? Yeah, and what is it you're studying?
I'm doing masters with journalism and mass communication.
Journalism and mass communication.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
What year are you in right now?
Yeah.
Freshman or sophomore, junior, senior, where? Or you're in your master's program?
I'm junior.
You're a junior. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll keep track of you and your progress. That will be excellent. Well, listen, you heard Men Sidisi. Does that sound similar to your story in any way?
Okay. Today our topic is to discuss boys and mental health. So if my opinion is now we are belong to a generation where nobody is mentally stress relief. And you can ask me why it is. Because whatever happens to our surrounding affect us mentally. It might be physical problem, it might be emotional problem, it might be financial problem. Whatever it is, everything gives us a mental stress. Even now we are living a digital, socially active livelihood through where people's involving themselves in the competitive surrounding which is not same before. Sometime our past generation also did not understand that the stress we are facing, even they never understood also. We want cry, we want to cry our our emotion also we want to share, but nobody understood because during their time situation was different. The, even our time situation is also different, and as situation of every person is different, but to attain the competition and to get win, which creates a mental stress. For me, if I'll say about me, now it's a crucial time where we want to gain the best possible things as a career, have to handle the family problems, family responsibilities, family situations, etc., etc., along social created pressures also with us. It's already sustained with us, which we unable to express to anyone. So I know it's important to stay emotionally fit and stable, but now our competitive with we are staying in a competitive world, so it's not possible. It's but I feel that it's okay to be stressed for a while, but I also feel that it's not always mentally we should accept the situation of life and everything around us. It's not unstable, and things get changed with time. So, and I also feel that healthy mind always accept the situation and act for that. So 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 and end of it, I want to say that along with physical health, we need to take care of our mental health also. It's very crucial, and we cannot see it, we cannot read it, we cannot recognize it super specially, but it can destroy our everything if it alters. So being healthy is to stay physically and mentally. So I feel that about me. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. Um, Several of the things you said are very similar to Mensadisi in South Africa, you being in India, the experience of being a boy, becoming a man. It's always those social pressures, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the family, it's the school, it's the job, it's so many things. You hit on a very important point, and I want to thank you for it, and that is that the generation that raised us had different pressures and
Exactly.
well, even just different technology than what we have. And so how we respond might be different than our parents. And do you know how confusing that is for parents? They're trying to raise a child the way they were raised. And maybe they didn't have a father. Maybe they didn't have a mother. Maybe there was very dysfunctional, but they're trying to raise you. But you're in a new life, a new world. It's very confusing for all of us. So
Exactly.
I want to congratulate you for being who you are and learning life lessons. And what we want to explore later on in the Q&A is, at what point was there a tipping point that said something's not right here, something's not working for me? And I asked that for all of you. That's the first tipping point. And the second tipping point is, I've had enough pain. I don't like this. This is not helpful to me. I need to make a change. How do I change? I'm in my culture. I'm in my family. How do I change? Well, these are big, wonderful questions. So Rahul, stick around. You're going to have a lot of opportunity to keep talking. And we're going to jump now. Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate your participation. We're going to now jump into back into down into the continent of Africa and into Nigeria. And Matthew Miller. Matthew, if you would unmute yourself and give us your picture, that would be great. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. In all honesty, well, we want to be transparent, right? We all want to be transparent.
Exactly.
I just want to say that I met Matthew several weeks ago, and we have had some very good conversations. And as I am now coming to meet so many others, you all begin to feel like right at home. You all feel like you're part of my family. I grew up with those same pressures. So did Ola and Uncle Mike, who you see here as Mike in Real Dad's Network. All of us had our mental health challenges, and we've had to make decisions, and some of them were good decisions and some were not. So Matthew, I want you to feel completely at ease. And now we're back in Nigeria. And tell us a little bit about yourself, your story, your understanding of mental health in yourself, maybe, but also in the people around you. You're in a world just like we are.
All right.
Take your time and enjoy yourself.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to whoever may be listening to me. Okay. My name is Matthew Miller, and I know this is my first time of doing something like this, but I think I'm going to do well. Okay. I'm going to be talking about how to promote mental health in boys. But before I do that, I would like to crave your indulgence in defining what mental health is and the causes of mental health. And because of doing this, I'll share some of my experiences and how some people like Russell Fox and Hola were used to help me. All right. According to WHO, WHO defines the mental health as a state of well-being where a boy, child, or anybody can cope with normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and also make contribution to his or her community. So when someone or a boy, in this case a boy, is able to make contribution to his community, is able to work productively, fruitfully, is able to handle normal stresses of life, that person or that boy is tend to be mentally stable or okay. Now, having said this, we need to quickly look at the causes. What could be the causes of, because despite the fact that a boy child can be mentally stable now, but in the next minute, because of challenges of life, he can have crisis or challenges regarding to his mental illness. Excuse me, regarding his mental health. So now, one of the causes of mental challenge that a boy child experiences is father deprivation. Okay, at a very young age, my parents got separated, and I had to start living with my mother. And that really affected me, because there were things I would like to discuss with my mother that I did with my father that I couldn't, that I wanted to discuss with my mother, but I couldn't discuss with her because maybe because of our gender differences or something. Although she's my mother, but that's that time that I prefer to bottle up a lot of things, within me. So, and this, because of bottling this up, it's because I'm a very sensitive person, and I overthink a lot, and this actually affected my mental health. I plunged into depression. I also plunged into anxiety. I got to a point I almost committed suicide, but with the help of somebody, I was able to come out of it. And although occasionally, sometimes when I overthink a lot of things, couple the pressure of my mother, my siblings, maybe because I am one person of the ability with a lot of responsibility. And one of the responsibilities you cater for the well-being of your siblings. And sometimes all this responsibility put pressure upon me and affect my mental. It makes me depressed. There were times that I was depressed, and thank God for Hola, I was able to reach out to him, and he has been a wonderful, since I've known him since 2020 till now. He has been a wonderful father figure to me. Like he has created what's it called, a safe space for me to express my emotions, express myself. Another point, another cause of mental health challenge is neglect. And I also explained this because after my parents got divorced, I was taken to stay with somebody, and that person careless about my well-being. So I wake up as soon as possible. I'll just be meandering about, roaming around, and and because of that, I got hooked up with a couple of friends, and these friends were bad friends because they introduced me to voodoo. And if you are conversant in Africa, you know that Africa is known for voodoo. We involve ourselves in voodoo a lot, in diabolical activities. So I was involved in because I wanted to feel, and I wanted to have this sense of security that comes with voodoo. Because and this particular thing that I did was, if you are being what's it called, if they strike you with knife or cutlass, it do not penetrate your body. And I did that, but and also I was smoking. Yes, and I think what age was I then? I think I was 4. Yes, 4. I was smoking, and my attitude changed. I became aggressive. I would eat the buttocks of ladies, and I would beat young kids like nothing else. Like I would just my behavior changed, and it was because of neglect that I experienced. Another thing is negative peer pressure. Now I call it. I was specific in saying negative peer pressure because we have positive peer pressure. For positive peer pressure is when you have peers that encourage you to be a better version of yourself, like read books, go involve yourself in sport activities, attend conferences and all that. But it becomes negative when you start being influenced negatively, like start doing drugs, start and this how many people have triggered mental disorders in them. Maybe there's someone that had it in their family, but because they got involved in drugs, it was triggered, in them, and has become a challenge, coping with that, and living living through it. So, okay, having said this, I would like to take you through a short journey on how we can promote mental health well-being in boys. And one of the ways is by encouraging emotional expression. Now, this is because even while growing up, I had this mentality that because of the society I grew up in, I had this mentality that boys are not supposed to express their emotions, because we are boys, we have to man up, we have to. It's how the society has made us to believe. Even my brother was a time was actually he was having a mental difficulty too, and he reached out to me. I just encouraged him and said, you know what, I wanted to connect to someone that would help him, thoroughly. He said, don't, what, don't worry. I'm a man. I'll man up. I'll be strong. I can figure this out. That was that's how the society has been able to think. But it's important to know that as boys, um, expressing ourselves, expressing our emotion is not. It's not bad, But what you just need sometimes is a safe space, and I would like to appreciate that Joseph Fox, the moderator for, because although it wasn't long that I met him, but since I met him, he has created this environment, this supportive environment for me to express my emotion. Like each time we have this Zoom chat, I get to express myself, express pour out my emotions, pour out my heart to him, and he ends up, elevating me and making me feel comfortable, confident, and my self-esteem is up the roof. And that point, another thing you can do to promote mental health wellness in boys is physical activities. I remember when I started, after I finished the compulsory 1 year, what's it called? Compulsory 1 year service in Nigeria, because after when you graduate, it's made compulsory for a graduate to go for a 1 year compulsory service. So after I graduated, after I finished that, I said that let me start staying alone. And because of the kind of work I do, I'm always indoor designing for clients across the globe, and but there was something that Hola said. He said I shouldn't live a sedentary life, and actually I thought he was just joking, me, because of that I'm very stubborn and adamant. So he said I shouldn't live a sedentary life, and I didn't listen to him. So I was always indoor, like 24/7. I would just be indoor. The only time I go out is when I'm going to the market or go to the market to the bank to do some transactions, and unfortunately, I got I became depressed. Like I was depressed for like almost a month. But thank God, it was Hola was always available for me to. Anytime I have issue, I'll just call him. Like we become so knitted together. Like I'll just call him. This is what I'm passing through. This is the challenge I'm facing now. Like coupled anxiety, and he would tell me, say, Matthew, this is what I've experienced, and I'm here to help to walk you through this same experience too. And he always does. And one thing that physical activities does is that it boosts the production of neurotransmitters in your brain, like serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, and all that. And these neurotransmitters have a way of boosting your mood, boost of self-confidence, and make you feel good, and it releases stress. Make you sleep better. And sleep is one of the like what my brother in South Africa just mentioned, that good sleep, quality sleep is important in promoting mental health in boys, and also teaching them healthy coping skills. Because the fact that you are mentally sound now doesn't mean that you mentally sound tomorrow. Because there's a quote that says that mental health is like is like brushing your taking care of your mental health is like brushing your teeth. Something you have to do on daily basis. And you need to learn you need to learn healthy coping skills like deep breathing exercises. Thank God for that. The Russell Fox taught me that, and it has really been a great experience for me. The mindfulness, engaging in hobbies or activities that brings you joy, and also encourage help seeking. Like as I said earlier on, many boys feel that seeking help is a sign of weakness. It's not, because you can't know it. You can't know it all. Because I used to, I was in this category before. I used to feel that, when you seek help, it makes even till now. I still feel that way, but Ola has changed that. Is changing that way of thinking about me. I used to feel that, when you seek help from people, it's a sign of, exactly for other men that have gone ahead of it, it's a sign of weakness. Like because I'm a man, I should be able to figure out everything. Is wrong. So we need to encourage help-seeking attributes in boys, and also we need to the boys need to limit media influences. Because I'll use myself as an example. There was a time, because of what I do, I was always online, and I'm always online, and scouting for designs, concept, and all that. I got to a point I began to allow social media to influence designs of other people, to influence my own design. Like the negative, I was now looking at myself like I was not good. I'm not good enough. I'm not better. I'm lagging behind, and I need to do better. I was being hard on myself. And because of how sensitive I am, it was affecting me mentally. I was anxious, I was depressed. In fact, it was affecting my deliveries, But thank God for the people, my clients who are understanding. They were able to, tell me, okay, just take your time, just have enough rest and all that. So that is one of the things that this social media influence can do to the boy child. It can cause them to have to plunge into self-doubt. And when you have self-doubt, it affects the way you see yourself. You start seeing yourself low, you belittle yourself in your thoughts, and that is bad. So in the way of conclusion, I will say this. Every boy is unique, and it's important to approach mental health promotion in a way that respects their individuality. And promoting mental health wellness in boys help them grow into resilient, emotionally intelligent, rounded individuals. Thank you.
Matthew, thank you so much. Yeah, you're very kind. And the number of similarities that are beginning to show from India to South Africa, now to Nigeria, I'm sure we're going to find the same thing as we move forward. There are themes. And B-Man as an organization has begun to address the actual causes of the cause of mental wellness. We always talk about the cause of illness and the cause of sickness. But I think we need to see what causes mental strength, what causes emotional strength. And you're giving us all the recipes. As we finish later on, many of us will be very interested in finding all of these similar threads and come up with, from the inside, what mental health feels like, looks like, and what action pills we can take, if you understand what I mean. Because it just doesn't happen on its own. You have to take steps, and that's what you addressed, Matthew, to reach out to safe people like Ola. Fortunately, you and I also know each other, and that's been a rich new relationship also. So thank you so much. That was wonderful, very insightful. We're going to go now to the Caribbean, someplace I would love to go. And I guess one day I will. We are.
I'm doing something right now. I can't come right now.
Now, Joshua, can you come on camera? Well, let's see, where are you? There you are. You can unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm Joshua Singh, currently residing in Guyana. It's very beautiful. Visited one day. I usually reside in Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm currently here for studies at the Bishop's High School, at second year of Cape. I know everyone's speaking about university, but however, in the Caribbean, we have a different examination process. So before we actually go off to university, we have an intermediate course that is known as Cape. It's a 2-year course that actually prepares us and give us the initiative to actually go into university. So we can compare it to, say, a second year of university, but it's an intermediate before we go off to university. So it's a different process here, right? I have a presentation I sent to Olaf, but I don't know if you'll present it. However, we'll move it forward. You can still see me, right?
Yes, sir, we can.
Right. So mental health. We just want to start off with a cliche. Mental, it has the men in there, so we need to take a stand, right? Mental, we need to take capacity and take initiative, and our health is men, right? The mentalness of it. Okay, something's happening. So the main objective here today, as all of us have spoken already, the 3 men, is promoting and maintaining mental health, understanding ways we can actually carry out mental health. You see, mental health is a part of everyone. All of us here on this podium has experienced some particular initiative with mental health. However, you see, there's a stigma, there's a stereotype where it is seen as a sign of weakness. It is all in your head. It's something you can just snap out of. However, many of the diseases, many of the health issues that is around the world today, you can't just snap out of. Chronic illness, you can't just snap out of a heart attack. You can't just snap out of a disease. That's the same thing with mental health. Any mental issues you're actually going for, it's in your head. You can't just get out of it. It needs a process. It's a process you actually have to go through and exercise initiative to actually take control of your mental state of well-being. You see, mental health, as the previous speaker said, It's a state of mental well-being. It allows you to learn well, work well, and contribute to your community. And what we don't see as men today is what we're doing and how it's actually impacting others, how it's impacting our fellow brothers in our own family, our own fellow mates in school, our own workmates. It's a community, it's a personal thing, and it's also a socio-economical development. You are part of your own community, you're a part of a nation. You actually carrying out work allows you to actually contribute to your nation, actually communicate, actually allow you to grow your nation. And this is what we need today, right? Because the eras before, the Renaissance era, men will go out there and go to war. How would that do? They're promoting themselves, they're protecting their family, they're protecting their nation, they're protecting what they believe in. And that's what we need to do today as men. However, in today's generation, we're not speaking or we're not promoting on how do we maintain mental health? How do we actually carry out this stuff? So I'm a Christian, and so I'm going to start from the maintaining perspective and how I actually see mental health. So maintaining mental health, my first thing, okay, I'm a Christian, right? But it surrounds what I'm going to say. You see, my first point is prayer. Prayer is a communication with God. It's a communication with a well-being. What we need to understand, it's a problem initiative. You're actually communicating. You're actually letting out yourself. You're expressing yourself. You're letting all that negativity, all that stress that is building up within you to actually be let out through a well-being, letting it out, letting yourself out, and allowing that emotional turmoil, that physical well-being that is holding you down. Because a lot of things you don't understand that emotionally, an emotional thing actually allows you to express yourself. So if you're having a negative energy, you wouldn't want to communicate. You wouldn't want to express yourself. You wouldn't want to let yourself out there. But that's what prayer does. Prayer is allowing yourself to be communicating. So I see prayer as a communication aspect of allowing yourself to be expressive. My next point is get out and get active. You see, according to Men's Health Week, men who are 60% inactive are more likely to suffer from depression than those who are active. What if you work long hours or simply don't enjoy sports, something of the sort? A good 10 to 20 minutes daily walk can improve your emotional well-being. You see, before I actually reached this point, I had to write an exam. It's the CSEC exam. And I would usually have this feeling and I would actually get physically emotional where I cannot actually continue on. I become overwhelmed with studies and I would understand why. But I actually reached out to my pastor and he told me, he gave me this analogy, right? The analogy, it's a weird one, but it's a good one. It's a toilet bowl analogy. You see, the toilet bowl would usually fill up. And at a point when it's full, it's going to stop, right? The thing that stops it, it stops. And obviously it can't go anymore if it stopped unless you let it out. So you said, Joshua, you take a break. When you know yourself cannot go through this exhaustion anymore, you let it out. That doesn't mean the problem is not still there. That doesn't mean exhaustion to a state of releasing your mind, releasing yourself, and then go back to the situation, allowing yourself to move from a state of, I can't deal with this right now. I can't actually carry out no particular proficient work and actually move away from that situation and move back to it with a new state of being. You see, a mechanic, why do a mechanic have other mechanics around them? It's a new set of eyes. You see, a mechanic can't watch a car or a vehicle at one point and say, what's the problem one time. Sometimes they don't know what's the problem and they need a new set of eyes. That's what you are doing to yourself. You're moving yourself from a state of exhaustion to a state of a new well-being. You're moving your mind. You're allowing that problem to still be there, but you're moving into it in a different way. Another way of maintaining, understand it's okay to seek help. You see, as I was saying, the stigma, many of the previous speakers have already said this stigma, where men speaking about themselves and expressing themselves is a sign of weakness, and they're not allowing themselves to it's all right to express yourself. How do alcoholics move? They're expressing themselves, they're understanding advice, they need help. And that's how they get help. That's how they allow people to come into their life and help them. So we need to understand it's okay to acknowledge our experience and mental health issues that lead to these stuff, right? We need help. We need a person to turn to. We need a workmate. We need a fellow brother to talk to. We need a teacher. We need a coach. Many of these soccer people, right? Many of the people around the world, athletes, they have people to talk to, their coach that allows them, not just on a career base, but a mental base, a psychological base, a basis where they can grow themselves. And this is a wrongness. Many of us on this podium, many of us here have met people that encourage us, that allow us to Olaf, my own pastor, our own youth leader, they have allowed themselves to be there as people to allow us to express ourselves. And let's say, doesn't have to be nothing. They're just there to hear us. Sometimes we just need a person to talk to. We don't need no advice. We just need someone to talk to release that stress, release that energy, and let's free our minds. Okay. So my fourth point, it's make mateship a priority. You see, long ago in previous times, we allow ourselves to be in a group. Many of us grew up in groups, our community, we grew up as fellow brethren and brotherhood. We grew ourselves in groups. We need to take this stance. Understand, we're not here alone. God didn't bring us into this earth to stand alone. He brought us to communicate with each other. Understand, you need to reach out to each other, grow a group, grow an initiative, grow a party or a sense, if you want to say, but allow yourself to have a mateship with others. Allow yourself to grow with others. This would allow you yourself to grow, understanding the capacity, allow for advice to come into your life, allow for different stuff to come into your life, allow for all the certain stuff that we need as a man. All of us here wants to be man. All of us here are men. How did we reach to this point? There's many videos on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, just saying, oh, you need to be a man. You need to be a man to grow a family. You need to be a man to take this career path. But they're not teaching you how to be this man, how to actually carry out the initiative to be this man. And so what we need here to do, we need to actually allow ourselves to communicate with others, allow ourselves to come together and take the advice of others and understand that each person is facing some particular challenge. We are not facing the same challenges as men. We might have problems in school, we might have problems in work, but these different experiences allow each other to grow, okay? So the second problem, the second objective, as I say, is promoting mental health. You see, in this point, you should understand what is mental health. So how I view it is first you maintain your own mental health, and then you move from that point to promote it because you yourself was dealing with some mental issue. And so now you're moving from that state of maintaining it to promoting it, okay? Health promotion is essential to improve the health status and quality of life of individuals. Promoting mental health at an individual, community, and policy level is central to reducing the incidence of mental health problems, including self-harm and suicide. We're reaching out to people. We're reaching out with our hands and saying, yo, bro, we're here for you. My friend, I'm here for you. You see, hosting mental health, just like what we're doing here today, this beautiful Saturday, we're here to host a mental talk. We're simply gathering as fellow men and young boys in our community, our church, our school, around the world, and allow ourselves to express the feelings and others to help advise those that are suffering in carrying out this initiative. You're ourselves cope with mental health and seek help with others, right? You're helping yourself and you're helping others. What's not good about that? Helping yourself and then helping others. You're promoting it. Implement small gestures, something simple as holding a door for strangers, giving money to those that are in need, or volunteering for a good cause are all examples of good initiative. One of the best ways to start is by turning up your empathy, understanding that you were a part of a low point in your life, a point where you were struggling with some particular thing, and understanding you and yourself now needs to grow yourself as much as you need to grow someone else, allowing yourself to be viewed as a person that is empathetic and trustworthy. You see, people actually reach out to persons that are trustworthy. Why sometimes we fear going to our pastor and speak about certain stuff? Because we understand the level they are at, but understand that they are trustworthy people. The people that are actually there for us are trustworthy. Until we reach out to them, then we will know. So that's what we need to do. We need to maintain our mental health, and then we need to promote our mental health, promote it to our fellow brothers, promote it to the oldest person. It doesn't matter who it may be. Age doesn't have to be anything. Age comes with experience. Age comes with a lot of stuff. A young man can take advice from an older man, just as an older man can take advice from a younger man. It doesn't matter where your experience and where your status is at. All of us are facing some particular challenge today. And that's basically what sums up my perspective on mental health in boys. My fellow brethren that spoke before, all of them are saying there's a stigma, there's a stereotype, there is a cause, and that brings effect of mental issues. We need to understand as men, we need to take initiative. We need to promote it. We need to maintain it. Where all this advice around us today, all the advice that's telling us we just need to say, no, we need to take step by step to solve the problem. Step by step, we will get there. And thank you for actually allowing me to speak about this.
Joshua, you know, what I'm going to say about you, I mean for everyone that's spoken so far, and Moses, you're up next, and Ryan just after that. I tell you, a lot of people my age are concerned that the world is just falling apart. I want to tell you, you gentlemen give me such hope and such confidence that the world is actually doing very well. And as you become the leaders, don't ever lose this focus. Don't lose the fire. In a way, you're already leaders. And what you just said about, yes, older people, I guess I'm the oldest one here. We have experience, and we have experience we can share. But there are times when your experience enlightens us. And that's what's going on today. And so I applaud you. I applaud everyone, and look forward to rewatching this, because I cannot take notes fast enough.
Honestly, Ross, I want to tell Joshua, you taught me something today, Joshua. Everyone that has spoken, Mercy, DC, Matthew, Josh, there's a part of your statement that says, boys don't need this advice. They just need someone to talk to. What has happened to our generation? We want to give you all of the advice, but are we available for you to talk to us? And you just reminded me of that today. Thank you so much, Joshua. I need to open up my space to listen more to many boys out there. And I'm so happy and grateful that you are now part of the B-Man team globally. We will be working together with all the boys, all the men that are here today. That was powerful, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah, we see the influence of good, not just clear thinking, but clear emotional selves. We're all starting with this. It's the mental, and it's our decisions, and it's our head and the pressure. But every single time we're saying it all starts inside with what we bottle up, what we don't have a chance to release, to talk about, to share, and to learn how it is to be a man within our culture, within our time. All right. Anyway, my thanks to you, Joshua. That was so well done, and you had a lot to say. Don't stop talking. Moses, guess what? We're about to come to you in Tanzania. So if you would be kind enough to unmute yourself and also put yourself on screen, we'd love to swing back to Africa again, and right to Central Africa. Moses, are you there? If you are, we need to have you unmute yourself and then come on camera. And if you've stepped away from the phone, your computer, we can move along. Hello, Moses. Something I was going to tell Moses when he came on. He was trying and he got himself disconnected. Well, I was visiting in Rwanda last year, and we went to a kind of I guess I'd have to say a nightclub. Me and my two Rwandan boys, my two sons, and there was a group, probably one of the finest jazz singers I've heard in my life, and I've had 70 plus years to listen to jazz singers, and a pianist and a piano, bass, and drums backing up this singer. He's from Tanzania. I was so proud to meet him and to know him, and we've kept up communications. But it's been, there's so many riches all over the world that most of us are isolated. And today, just as I was able to go to Africa and make all these wonderful acquaintances, today we're making new acquaintances. So Moses, I don't see you there. If you are, can you let us know? Well, in that case, let's see, Ryan. Hey, we're back to the good old USA, huh, Ryan? Ryan, if you would please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Come on camera. Hello, Ryan.
I'm just let me give me a minute to like get set up and everything.
Sure.
I said a minute. I'm just downstairs in the kitchen.
No, that's okay. Do what you need to. You know, there's so much that I would like us all to consider as we go through this. Some of the common themes. Everybody so far has been looking for a role model. Everybody so far has been looking for a group to join, something to identify with. Everybody so far has been looking for a safe space, a place where they can share what's inside without fear of judgment. And that is so wonderfully evident that these young men have found that, and they've taken steps. We all have to take our own steps, and that is interesting. As much as we have felt alone, we have felt then not sufficient, not enough. But once we realize that we are not alone, there are others waiting to help. And there are tools that we can access that will help us gain a little better perspective about who we are, how to move forward. All of us have talked about sleep. We've talked about exercise. We've talked about so many things, but it looks different in different countries. Now, Ryan, you and I have both grown up in America, different parts, probably different communities. But at the same time, I mean, we all look in mirrors, and it's very easy to see differences, but those are differences that actually don't mean anything.
Yeah,
It's those similarities that we all hold. And as you've sat and listened, have you heard some of your own story coming out of these people?
I've heard some of it, but the main story that I've heard the most is that I can relate to is that men don't cry. I have heard that rhetoric for years upon years, ever since I was a boy. I've heard that rhetoric throughout years from not only just people, but in media as well, be it like books or movies or shows, video games. I've heard that rhetoric for years. And men usually, most of the times in most common media in America or maybe worldwide, but in most media, it's men are portrayed as more emotionless, empty machines or animals or killing machines, or they're portrayed as like they're hollow, empty, they have no soul, or that's just how men are portrayed most of the times in media from what I've seen ever since I was a kid. And anytime, like especially in video games, men are drawn very dark and very grim looking, very menacing looking.
Yep.
And from honestly, my whole personal experience with mental health, I think, because with me at first, it wasn't really so great per se. I didn't start really taking care of myself mentally until I was around the ages of 12, 13, 14, because around that age, I was an impulsive liar. I lied about a lot of things for a lot of reasons. I lied out of either out of fear, shame, guilt, anger, resentment, uh, for thousands of reasons. But then one day I realized something. I was like, I sat down with myself and I really asked myself, why am I an impulsive liar? And I really did a lot of self-reflection. And I looked in the, as you said, I looked in the mirror one day and I didn't like what I saw staring back. So from that day forth, I realized I need to take better care of myself, because at the end of the day, the only person who can take care of me mentally is me. I need to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit. So after that, from that point on in time, I continued to grow. I continued to change. And the thing is, I also realized something about perfection. I heard this quote from a show once, and the quote goes something like, I think perfection a dead end. It's not something anyone should want to chase after or be, because the thing is with perfection, when you get to that state, that's it. It's the end. There's nothing else for you after that. Without the idea of perfection, you can always continue growing, changing, and evolving for the better. With the idea of perfection, there's a limit to how far you can come. Perfection, the idea of perfection is a false reality. It's a figment of imagination. And even if it did exist, it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't really be a healthy thing, because perfection is just a dead end. No more growth, no more evolution, no more change. Just that's it, the end. But that whole idea is even worse. And to even add on further, I think the choices that I made when I was younger all came out of being very out of touch with my emotions and not really being out of touch with myself. And usually I would put what others said about me and thought about me above what I think about myself or how I felt about myself. So when I realized that, I was like, I need to stop doing that, because I'm living in service of other people instead of living in service of me. Because at the end of the day, I am living my life. They're not living my life for me. I'm living my life. This is my life. I have to live it, because no one else is going to live it for me. So it's important that I I don't value what other people say about me over what I need to have some sense of self-integrity and some sense of self-worth and understanding and self-respect for myself.
Perfect. Keep going if you wish. We have some time.
And something else I also thought about too, uh, with my father wasn't really in my life too much, if not barely at all. So I used to like, when I was young, it used to make me depressed. But then I realized later on after that time, I realized, why am I being so depressed about someone who chose to be absent out of my life? I can't, you can't, you that it taught me you can't force people to want to be in your life. At the end of the day, it's their decision whether they want to be in your life or not. You have no control over that. You can persuade, you can sway as much as you like, but ultimately the decision is for them to make, not you, because it's their choice whether or not they get to stay in your life or not. That's out of your hands. So I also found it important that I had to come to terms with that reality, accept it, and then move on. Because if I stay stuck in that state, if I had stayed stuck in that state, I would have done more harm than good to myself, because life is not going to be like, oh, that's so sad. I'm gonna wait for you to like deal with your problems. Life waits for nobody. Life keeps moving forward. If you spend too much time dwelling on the past, your life, you have to always keep moving. So that also taught me the importance of finding, in a sense, equilibrium, a balance, things that, and also, yeah, it taught me to find equilibrium, a balance, and find things that you enjoy, passions, things that make you happy, which I had found mine. It took me a while to get there, but after years of trying and experimenting and trying to understand like what I'm really passionate about, I find I'm very passionate about movies, shows, video games. As of recently, writing a fictional book and acting as well. So that having those passions helped me stay afloat and help me stay balanced. Because and experiencing negative emotion, something that also told me is that you can't have the positive emotions without the negative emotions. You have to find a way to yet again find equilibrium, a balance between the negative and the positive, and not also that, but also find a way to channel the negativity in a healthy, positive manner. Whether it's going to the gym, working out, you have to find a way to healthily channel it to also help release it out
Let
of your
me ask
system.
you, who is the most important person, say recently over the last couple of years, who I don't want to say replaced your dad, but became the role model, someone who was provided the safe space? Was there a person like that?
Not completely and fully, but I would say the closest person I would say to was Mike. But I would also say that I kind of pushed myself even before he came along. The closest person I would say was myself, because I asked myself, what kind of person would I want to be? What kind of man would I want to be in the future? And from it's from all the media that I've watched, from the positive media that I've watched that have portrayed men in positive light. As a kid, when I would watch those shows, I'd be like, I want to be like that guy when I grow up. I want to represent, say, for example, Superman. Superman represents the whole idea of nobility, peace, justice, equality, and hope. And he's very powerful, as media has shown, but he's still a very nice guy. He has all that power, and that power doesn't make him evil or anything. But he's still a nice guy. So when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I want to be like Superman. I want to be as strong, not obviously not super strong, but I wanted to have the kind of strength that he had, but still be able to remain kind, respectful, humble, peaceful, and just full of positivity. So seeing those things as a child, those were kind of my ideal male role models. The men, most of the male superheroes that you saw in like fiction, like Superman or Spider-Man, I looked up to them as children. So I wanted to be like them as kid when I was a kid.
That's wonderful. Well, essentially, we have all gotten to the point of saying, to a certain extent and to the large extent, it's up to me. I need the help. I need the guidance. I need the examples. But when you come right down to the bottom line, I have to get in there and do the heavy lifting.
You are the only person to do the work.
Yeah.
At the center of it all, it's you versus you.
Bravo. Yes, exactly right. Let me say one other thing, because I've noticed that our final participant, Moses, he may be having some difficulty technically because he keeps coming on and then he disappears. So we'll hope he joins us. But I want you to see if this fits for you. For you, Ryan, and I'm opening this up to all of our participants now. all of our 6 young men. Many people have observed that for most people, they don't do what the 6 of you, actually, I'll include Mike and Ishmael and Ola and myself, the 10 of us, they haven't done some of the hard work. And because of that, they're not really here. It's like a part of them is not living their life. And in looking at that, sometimes, and this is what I want do you feel this is right or wrong, what I'm about to say? That for many of us, our normal way we communicate with people, how we interact with people, it's not honest. And in most cases, there is what we call our personality. It's a set of defense mechanisms that we needed to survive, but they have now become our habit. And they've long outlived their usefulness, but they're still alive inside us. And so no matter how old you are, if you're in your 20s, your 30s, or hello, I'm in my 70s, it's never too late to look inside and say, what inauthentic self? Where is there something I'm still using a crutch, but my legs are perfectly fine? Does that resonate with everybody? You know, you can all unmic as long as you don't have a radio on in the background or something. Feel free to unmic and jump in. So Rahul, Joshua, Matthew, Mike, and Ola. Does that seem to be the case, that there's always another layer that you can really become authentic if you wish? Anyone want to jump in?
I would definitely agree, because I've met a lot of people who even now in their like early, mid to late 20s, 30s, and 40s, they're still stuck in a survival mode because they've dealt with things that they've never had to, and it was a traumatic experience, and they had to put themselves in a position when they're still stuck in survival mode and they haven't really been able to live a proper life. And then because of it, that negatively hurts their emotion, that it negatively hurts their relationships, whether it's relationships with family, friends, co-workers, loved ones, romantic. It just hurts all of their relationships because that past trauma, it's still their future and present is still being dictated and controlled and manipulated by their past.
Exactly right. And I'm sure there's not a person on this panel that wouldn't agree with that. That whatever that hurt or trauma or bad decision, whatever that was, unless it's fully acknowledged and lived, experienced, it doesn't stop, and we carry it with us. And so our mind will very dutifully go back and keep rehearsing that old stuff. And so, as you just said, Ryan, they're living in their past, which makes them worry about the future, and they're never here now completely. And that's the goal, for us to be present for each other. Now, there are tools that we can use. And one of the tools that we're having a little difficulty with this morning is the internet. Just got a note from Joshua, from Moses, saying the internet is having real difficulties where he is. So it looks like we will enjoy his interview coming up next month. We will find a way of enjoying his input. Moses, we look forward to hearing him. So I want to repeat something that Ola said at the very beginning, and that's very, very, very important here. If boys learn, men won't know. And if they don't learn, we still have adult boys. We have boys who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, a boy. That freedom to find the clear space, to find the support, to give each other the nurturing. You know, I was at a concert the other night, and during the intermission, there were a group of ladies, and they're all standing around and they're hugging each other. They have the freedom to, you know, put an arm around a shoulder and to give each other support and to get close and enjoy that close connection. I was a little bit jealous. The little boy in me was a little bit jealous because I never understood that until I was a little bit later in life. That it's okay to be happy. It's okay to people and feel their spirit, enjoy their energy. So that's what you guys have shared with us today. I'm going to ask one other question, and I'd love you each to just to give a couple of words. What does mental health look like? What does it look like? Is it a thing we can identify by, oh, it looks like that? Or is it something that we do? I personally think it is, but even if it's something we do, what does that look like? Let me just ask that question. Joshua can give me 2 or 3 sentences on what does mental health look like to you? What's the end? What are we talking about? We're all aiming at a goal. Joshua, go ahead and unmute yourself and give us a moment on what does mental health look like?
To me, I wouldn't say there's a distinct look of mental health, but as I said, it's a position where you're promoting it. It's a position where you understand where it is. It's a position where you know what it is. But that doesn't mean a person who's promoting mental health doesn't suffer from any mental illness, may not have a seek of weakness in it. But him understanding that he could reach out to someone is him showing that he is mentally capable of allowing himself to express. He's in a mental stability state. There's no point and distinct meaning to me, as I would say, my perspective, a distinct meaning of mental. But a point of stability of mental health is you understanding that you can express yourself, allowing yourself to know what it is.
Well, when I say, what does it look like? I'm not actually saying visually. How would I identify it? You identify it as this is what you can do. You can actually talk. You can actually reach out. You can actually express your emotional self for your mental well-being. That's what it looks like. Excellent. Rahul, come back in from India and tell us, if you'd unmute yourself, put yourself on camera if you can. Are you able to tell us, what does mental health look like? What are the actions? What are the things? What's mental health? What's the end goal here?
Okay. Just a minute.
We hear you. Yes,
Hello?
we hear you.
Rahul, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm audible.
Yeah, you're on. We hear you. We're waiting for you. What does mental health, what is it? What's the goal? What are we looking forward to?
Mental health. What should I say?
Don't feel tied up. This is not a quiz. You're not going to get graded.
Russ, basically, he is a bit so much in a worry because he was texting me as well. This is the first time that he's attending an international
I
Zoom meet. So
understand.
he was just, thinking of so many people. And after hearing such powerful words from Joshua and others, things, because as we talk, as my friends say, that the brothers spoke, that it's not about like boys don't cry. It's not only in Africa or Nigeria or US. It's a issue. Abilities that boys are given, it's from very childhood age. So even a boy of 9 or 10 years age is earning along with the father at a working either on the streets or at a store, and there are a lot of pressure is there. So it's something that it's hardly spoken about. And Ola really off for bringing about all these issues internationally
Yeah.
and letting
You are,
people's movement from India to learn and
Yeah. So, Rahul, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Feel very
Anyway, we really appreciate you connecting us to Rahul all the way from India. And Rahul, you are part of the B-Man families from now on. So you feel relaxed about what you have to say, what you want to say. This is a family, this is a community of men that are willing to support you from everywhere. You can connect with Uncle Mike, myself, Mr. Fox, and you have one big opportunity today. You can connect with Joshua. You can connect with Ryan. You can connect with Mercy DC in South Africa. You become like a young voices who are who are vocalizing the importance of promoting and maintaining mental health globally. So what he just asks you, just express yourself in a way that you understand. That's okay with us. Rahul, are you there? Like he's frozen.
Mental.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hello.
I'm thinking that what we will encourage you to do, I encourage everybody, Joshua, Ryan, everybody, feel real comfortable reaching out, as
Yeah.
as Ola just said. You really, we first time for several of you to speak on an international platform like this.
Absolutely.
But it's just us. It's just us guys. We're just having a chat. So always feel comfortable with that. May I ask all of you too, and I'm about to go to Matthew and then Ryan with just a quick question. But would all of you open up the chat, and if you would feel comfortable, please put in your name and either an email or a WhatsApp phone number, some way that you are comfortable with the rest of us communicating with you. Okay. And then when this is recorded, hopefully we will harvest that and make it available just for those of us who have been part of this conversation. So Rahul, always feel comfortable to jump in and say anything at any time. Okay. I'm going to ask right now if Matthew, are you up and running? Can you unmute?
Up and running.
Okay. Okay. Well, in 2 sentences, if you can do that.
Okay.
What does mental health look like for you? How will you know you have arrived at a state of real mental health? Or is that a place we do arrive?
Okay. Yes, it's a we can actually arrive at mental health, but it will take some level of work, and like what I said before, um, mental is like arriving at mental health is like brushing your teeth, which is something you do on a daily basis. And yeah, mental health is when you arrive at it when you are able to cope with life stresses. You are able to you're able to contribute to your community. I think, and also the ability to realize your ability, as an individual, and the ability to learn where and to work where and to be productive. So I think that's what mental health is for me. And also we can say mental health is when there's clarity of purpose, when you know what to do, when you know how to do it, when your decision making uh,
Yep. Excellent. Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. All of those are strong points. This is what it looks like. This is what you're able to do. So it's like love. Love isn't something you fall into. Love isn't something you find. Love is something you do for each other. So Ryan, you're last up. Let me ask you that very same question for you. You're in New York. You're a young man. Supposedly we have it all figured out, right? Well, none of us do.
No,
And we fake it until we master it, right? We fake it until
Yeah.
we master it. However, that's okay. What does it look like for you to be mentally okay?
What? Well, I think the best way I can describe it is like this. I think to be mentally well for me, it looks like uh it's like a bridge. If you build it strong enough and you build it with care and you take time to always watch over it and take care of it and always just observe it to see how it's doing structurally, it'll always be in stable condition and it will never be able to break. And the cars and the buses and the trains of thoughts and feelings that pass through will never crumble, to put it simply.
It's perfectly said.
I don't think you don't ever stop learning. Even when you've learned a lot, the learning process never truly stops. It only stops in one way, and that's dying after anything else. But I learn, and there's always some way, shape, or form you can grow and evolve as long as you're alive. There's always something new to learn.
Ryan, that's perfect. You're so right. And if you build that bridge and you're not, the most important thing is I need the bridge now. I needed the bridge in the past, but the bridge wasn't there. But now I take the steps to create that support system for myself, jumping in and being able to do it. That's so important, Ryan. And I think if I could just one observation that seems to be coming in from the kind of the outside, but it coalesces, and that's this: that mental health is a result of good emotional health. I think that's a basic truism now. And that if we have that, if we are working towards that, it means that we are fully present. It means we are living our life now. We're not waiting for our past to change. Now, that even sounds foolish to say, but how many people are doing that? We're living our lives waiting until our past changes. Well, sorry, it's time to take the steps now, as all five of you have. And when we hear from Moses, I'm sure it'll be the same thing. So I see Ishmael, you've got your hand up. Do you want to go ahead and unmute and go ahead and put yourself on screen? We'd love
Hey,
to see you.
great
Hey,
conversation, guys. To me, what mental health looks like to me is like a sport, like football, like soccer. When you're on the field, you know the plays. The people that's on the field with you, they know the plays. They know what to look for. You protect the goalie see what you see. So at the end of the day, to me, I see as a sport. Whatever sport you play, or if you're good at that sport, you'll know what to see and what to look for. And that's all I wanted to say.
no, that's very important. We are part of a team. And right now, B-Man is that team. I have a great brother. Literally, I consider him my brother. His name is Stephen Mulyoa. He's in Uganda. And years ago, he began an organization, which I also serve on the board of that. It's Children's Voice Network, teaching kids how to survive very difficult circumstances. And recently, I put Stephen in contact with Ola, and they're realizing it's like sister organizations, and it's possible to work together and to learn from each other. Well, listen, brethren, we are all learning from each other this morning, and this has been wonderful. Many people will be watching this after the fact. It will be posted. And I am so thrilled that we've been able to enjoy you, to appreciate you, and to learn from all five of you. And Moses, yes, we look forward to a stronger internet, and we will wrap our community supportive arms around you when we're able to have you on with us. And we will schedule that. So all is not lost. So
Yeah.
thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. And I see it. We've had ladies here online listening, and thank you wonderfully. You don't become men unless you've got that other side of life, the female, both inside and those around us. So, Ola, I hand it back to you. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Oh, thank you very much, Ross, and thank you each and everyone that have made presentations. But for sure, I do believe there are one or two individuals here, like Doug Davis, who may want to make contributions, Maggie Kizozi, Jessica Nsungwa. Please, let's have your contribution in this conversation in just 2 minutes each. What is mental health to you? How do you promote and maintain it? So this will be giving you the opportunity to be part of this conversation. So let me start with is there now Jessica, or we have Ed Hill Messiah too. Ed Hill Messiah, can we start with you?
Yeah,
No?
Jessica and Maggie are the two females that we have right now. So
yeah.
if Jessica or Maggie, if either of you want to jump in and share with us any ideas you have on mental health in boys. Maggie, wonderful.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Yes, my name is Maggie Chigozi. I work with the Scouts. I work with the women and men and I'm happy to be here. I'm learning. I'm really glad to be able to listen to the young boys that have spoken, have shared their stories. They're all very revealing. And we can look to supporting the boys in Uganda to also go over a very difficult phase, just like what everyone talked about. So I was here to learn, and I am happy. I've learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Maggie, may I invite you to also open up the chat and give us a way that we might be able to communicate with you. Obviously, I have deep connections with Uganda and would love to continue this conversation at a later time. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. And
Do
please
that.
share with us a contact. Jessica, do you have anything you'd like to share with us about mental health from your perspective, particularly mental health for boys or young men? Going once, going twice. Jessica, thank you for being here and being with us. And possibly at another time, rejoin us and feel free to share. So, Doug, I'm not going to let it go without you having your chance to chime in. Love to have you with us. What do you have to say?
Thank you, Russ. Very interesting topic, very topic that should always be to the forefront and on the table all the time, because we can't really achieve anything without our mental health. So, you know, I look at mental health being a Christian. I'm a Christian also, like I heard one of the other brothers say, Raul, I believe it was. I'm a Christian also, and what got me through in life from a youth to now was just pretty much being able to vent, like he said, and I vent to God and I talk to God, not holding on to a lot of stress and a lot of things that I give it all to him. I don't try to carry any weight on my shoulders. So this helps alleviate the stresses off for me. And if I'm a really truly be a Christian, I got to believe in God and have that faith that it's on him and he's going to help me out and get through it. So I'm still here. I'm standing, you know, and I'm an elder. Life has been good to me. I can't, although it has ups and downs, and life has been good to me because I'm able to be here on the Zoom with y'all, great men and women, and to talk about how great life has been to me. I'm alive. God woke me up this morning. But in the Bible, God mentions guard your ear gate. But that's just one example. You have to guard every gate. Your eye gate, what you look at, you don't want to poison you. You know, your nose gate, and you gotta your sense gate. You have to guard your mental health. You have to dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and really make sure that no matter what's going on in life, you can't let it draw you into a dark. This is pulling me that way. Let me do something about this. So that's what's got me through. And since I was a kid, I would always, you know, my mother's no longer here, you know, great woman. I say, you know, and I used to be out there where sometime where I did, you know, I jumped off somebody put suicide wasn't in my DNA. So I would tell her that, you know, to let her get it straight for the record. But your mental health is everything. You can't really achieve anything without taking care of your mind first. And that's all I want to say. And thank you for having me.
You bet. You bet. Well, in order for that mind to be clear, you even made reference to the fact that you vent to release that energy that we all feel, and it's stuck in our bodies. And our brain gets all confused and upset until we take control. Yeah. And how do you do that healthfully? You found your way. And I believe that was Joshua who was saying that prayer has been very important. Isn't it interesting that in our world today, maybe the influence of religion has been lessening and the problems are increasing? But even so, there are those who say, it's time to go in, it's time to meditate, it's time to contemplate, it's time to, you know, in a religious sense, where's the kingdom of God? The kingdom of heaven is inside. And the kingdom of heaven is in turmoil for lots of people. But the gentleman here this morning or this evening, or wherever you are, have really gone inside. They've done the heavy lifting, and they've come to realize it all falls on me reaching out for help. That's the combination.
That's true.
Now, Ola, I pass it back to you. Thank you again for everyone. Everyone from Doug to Joshua, Rahul, Ryan, Maggie, that was wonderful. Uncle Mike, Ishmael, thank you. Matthew, have just been brilliant today. You've given us a lot of hope for the future. And I expect that there will be future times when we will invite you back. Maybe just you next time.
Of course, of course. This actually gives me an insight to look at the
But
weight of knowledge that our young men are in the possession of our young men, and it is time to begin to amplify their voices in such a way that they know that we care for them and we're there to listen to them and be part of their journey as they move to manhood. Just in 1 minute, this conversation has been very great. I want to thank each and every one of you. You've made today yet another great discussion, especially the young men. Please, if you can, let's just open video. I mean, just use your video, open it up to say goodbye to each and every one of us until we converge again the next time. I want to let you know that B-Man is always there to support the boys, cultivate them, create structures for them in their lives, supervise them, and also help them to be civilized. This is all that we need. And the point I take most of this is that if this young boy said to us today, especially for some of us who are adults, they look at us and say, oh, we don't need this, all of your advice. We just need you to talk to us. I believe we should take that with us today and open our doors to our young men so that they can talk with us. They want to talk with us, not just send this advice, bombard them with it all of the time. It's not helping as it should be. So thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Ross, for that excellent moderation. Uncle Mike, we didn't have much of your contribution today. I know you were in and out of this conversation. Probably you're very busy, but you've heard the young voice. And in 2 minutes as we close, what do you have to respond to these questions, these heavy questions these boys have thrown to us as an adult?
I just want to say that I am just amazed and so blessed to be among such incredible young men. The conversation has been rich. It's been informative. It gives me hope that we're changing the narrative, that we're actually healing, keep doing what they're doing, keep learning, keep growing. And Ola, thank you so much for providing this amazing platform and bringing so many people from around the globe together. And Russ, as always, great moderator. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a pleasure and honor to be here.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate what you've done and the inspiration that you have provided for so many others. And I know Ryan would echo my thanks to you.